Alright, so we're back, and next in our route, we're going to be doing Kids Land. I like to do Kids Land third because it has bowling, and bowling can be absolutely awful, as you will see. So, with that, let's jump right in. Our first crown is immediately to the right. You can jump up and grab it like so, or if you want, you can come here, neutral vault up. Then we got to go through the door. From here, come down left. You want to grab 7 of these guys, or 6 if you can. We're going to shoot this one twice. Jump, shoot, shoot. We're going to shoot this one 3 times. And then just eject whatever you have left into that one. Try not to jump into him and take damage like I just did. We're going to go through this door and cross the way. These platform rooms, they're on a global cycle, so they'll be in a different position than what you see here for me. And they're going to be on a bit of a different position than I'm used to because I'm taking time to stop and explain things. In this room here, the goal is to kill every enemy. First, we want to spawn all these guys. Like so. Get rid of them. Then there's a bunch on the door. Spawn them all. Make a big arc. Eject. Then we can vault, jump, tongue to pull our way up here. Tongue, pull. Oops, we fell. Tongue, pull. Oop. My goodness. Tongue, pull. And then tongue, pull. We grab this power up and fall straight down. We need to go in this little hole here, collect that crown, and then through the door. Unfortunately, the power up does slow you down, but we have to have it. From here, jump across like so. We're going to go into this corner and collect this crown. Then, we're going to actually jump across here. You can jump into the corner of this guy and take damage to damage boost your way up instead of having to go around like so. It's not as hard as it looks. This next room has a very specific strategy. It always looks really nice when it goes well, but it's not the easiest. I recommend practicing it. But as soon as you come in, don't do anything. We're gonna hold down right and walk to about here. If you look where we're at, we are pretty much straddling this green and purple texture and pink texture. We're like right in the middle of them. You're gonna make an arc, like an arced tongue like this, but kind of deep inward, and we're gonna grab this pole, spin around like so. Fire, come down, make an L and grab those 2. It makes the crown appear. Then we're going to come across, spin when you get it about halfway, and you'll go right into the crown and we can move on. This room here is pretty easy. You can run straight forward and jump to get across here. There's actually something worth mentioning here, though. You can collect this crown early. Normally what we do in the strat is we collect it by riding that platform out, then we jump over and we collect that crown. I want to talk about a very advanced technique, though, that nobody's really done in a run yet, just for the sake of pointing out that it exists. You can get right on the edge, and I do mean right on the edge, and barely, just barely, hit the hitbox of that crown and not have to ride the platform back out. It's not going to be a very major time save, but it is one that exists and is worth noting. So this room here, I should have mentioned what I was doing. With using the 2 ice cream sandwiches from the previous room, if you hold B and upright, you'll automatically fire and kill 2 of the enemies needed to proceed. Run through the center of the room, grab another one. And as long as you have good timing, you can jump and fire down right or kind of right and hit the last guy for the door to open. This next room has some RNG to deal with. We have to land on all 3 of these platforms to open the door to proceed. Now, there is something else here, though. Over here is the bowling minigame that we have to complete in JP 100%. So it's pretty dreadful, but there is something to talk about before we go in this room. When we come in this room, we want to solve the puzzle before going in if it's one of these 2 platforms. If the first platform is this one, we're going to go straight into bowling. But it's not in this case. So when you come in and you see that it's one of either this platform or this platform, just walk to it and jump on. Okay, and then we spin, and complete. If you land on the ground in between any of those, the puzzle resets. Now, our last platform was this, so we're gonna go do bowling now. Let's say though that our first platform was this, second was this, and third was this. If that happened, we'd do a different section of this room. Since it didn't, we're gonna go into bowling first. Talk to the rabbit. You can just walk into him. And he'll open the door. It is worth noting that we can clip through this door and not talk to the rabbit, but it's very difficult and not worth it. At least in my opinion. So bowling is pretty terrible, honestly. You have to get 200 points to collect a single crown, and the crown will spawn relatively here-ish. And, yeah, it's awful. You want to get as many strikes as you can. And the best way to do that isn't to do a straight-on shot like this. It's a slightly off straight to where you hit slightly to the left or to the right of the center pin. Like so. It's easier said than done, though, for this reason here. The ball changes its spawn position each time, so learning some of these different angles is a good thing. That, for example, definitely will not strike. See? Terrible. I find that the more you second-guess yourself, the worse you're going to do at bowling. Oddly. There are a couple of different ways that people have got around the strategies. That won't strike because... Oh, it did. Normally, it won't strike if it hits too deep into the center. But in that situation, we got pretty lucky. That should work. Yeah. Standing back here in the... straddling this and just sort of holding R and trying to adjust your angle best you can is honestly the best strat we've come up with so far for this. I'm all ears if anybody has anything else that they would like to pitch into this in terms of strats, because, man, it's just awful. It's a run killer. Although this round's going pretty good all of a sudden. Ah, that stunk. Hey, you know what? At least we got a couple more. See, we were too dead in the center, and as such, we had some balls on the wings there, or some pins on the wings that didn't get knocked down. That should work. Yeah. That might work. Cool. Oh. So unfortunately, we are 1 point short of what we need to collect the crown. So you can see the score requirements are steep, and no matter how good you are at this game, this minigame can absolutely ruin a run, and you can spend minutes here. So, let's move on. We're not gonna bother collecting the crown. From here, if you go over here next, when you come out of bowling, spin around. You can see this shadow texture on the ground. We're gonna come right to the middle of it, vault, and then immediately vault again to come up here. From here, hold straight up right about there to vault up here. Grab this, and then we're gonna jump down there. I really recommend practicing that. It's not the hardest, but it's definitely not easy. From here, wait till we get close to this crown, jump across, collect. Fall off the corner, grab the pole, spin all the way around, and through the door. We're gonna come down here, and then reach over into the void to grab this crown. Try to make it back across before it gets out of reach, if you get here at a good time, like we did. This room here has our carrot. You want to get a couple of these, collect this crown, and then shoot this particular target as many times as possible. You can see the carrot was behind him. Then we're going to jump up here. We're going to jump around this guy. It's a little tricky. We took damage, but you can do it without taking damage. Collect the carrot, and we're moving on. Going into this next room, hold down left and B to grab this pole like so and spin around. From here, we're going to go down left, spin right when you get to the edge, into the crown, grab this pole, retract a little, spin, and we're through that room. This next room, run straight in and go to the center platform. Once we get up here, we're going to jump. Keep jumping. This thing is a teeter-totter. Collect this crown and then jump all the way down and go into free cam with L while in the air. Zoom in twice. Come to this corner. Let the camera turn. Turn. Now notice, there are 3 arrows on the back wall. We're looking at this arrow, and at the main back of the arrow, there's yellow and, like, red. We want just a bit of the yellow of that back wing of the arrow to be on the camera. You'll see what I mean. Just a little bit of the yellow from the center part of it in the back. See, that's a bit too much. There, that's perfect. From here, we're going to go right very slightly, hold down. You want the line of the door to be about in the center of the chameleon's head, if you can see that crease in the door there. And with proper timing, we can go straight through the door. If you bounce out, it's more likely that your positioning was off rather than your angle. From here, there's a couple ways to go across this room, but the best way in 100% is to wait till about here and then spin all the way around to grab that crown, and then do that, and then work your way around. Sometimes these will be in different positions again, so I really recommend practicing this stage. In this room, we want to come down here, and we want to grab 3, kill, kill, and kill. Grab one more. Oops. Lucky thing he stays down there for a while. That room normally looks a little more graceful. I recommend checking out Quill's Any Percent tutorial for some comparisons there. In this room, ride that elevator and then jump to the right. Oops, my bad. We're not doing any percent. We're going to stay on this elevator until we get this crown right here. Then we're going to jump off of it and slightly to the right. Now we're going to do what I did before and ride around. Come to the left side to avoid taking damage from those guys. Zoom your camera out, you can see there's a crown. Just jump into it when we go under it, and then go across. There are 3 more crowns in this room, here, and they're the last 3 crowns of the stage. Here, we need to go over here. There's a couple ways we can do that. Way 1 is to jump across the corner. Way 2 is to grab this and spin over. Totally up to you. It's a little faster to jump, but a little tricky. Now, we need to get over there to get the last 3 crowns. You can see all 3 of them right over there. So, spin across to here. This room is very difficult. I highly recommend practicing it in a variety of different configurations. Unfortunately, we have to wait and just touch those. Then we have to collect this crown over here. When we get about this close, we can jump on across. And then we can work our way over to the boss. Simply spin around, and here we are. This boss is super crazy, like super, super, super crazy in terms of how to beat it the fastest. I'm not even going to begin to get into it. But we are going to defeat it for the sake of beating the stage during the tutorial. If you're wondering why I'm doing all of these things, I really recommend checking out Quill's tutorial. And that's Kids Land.